You didn't start your business to babysit schedules and chase subcontractors. Let's fix that. This video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can fire yourself and still turn a record profit. So the first point is you need to get your financials right. We often think, I don't want to do any more project management. I just got to hire a project manager, let them run with it, and away we go. But that's a quick recipe for disaster because you need to make sure that your pricing is congruent and you have the the right amount of financials to be able to facilitate a project manager. How do you do this? The first one is in estimating. You have to make sure that you are budgeting for project management in your estimate. So if you've got a project, you figure the project's going to run, I don't know, 3 months. How many hours per day does that project manager have to check out the site, do quality control, call subs, call the field crew, talk with the clients, talk with the designer, order materials? There's all this management time that goes into running a project. So you need to figure out what is that hourly amount of time and then be charging for it, 80, $100 an hour, whatever it may be for project management. And then you're going to put your markup on top of that. The reason you do this, even if it's just yourself at this point, managing the projects, you need to start tracking your time to realize how much time it takes to specifically operate a project. Because if you hire project manager and just plug them in and you don't realize that, wow, it actually takes like 100 hours to do a project like this. Well, that's like $30,000, $20,000 or whatever it may be, because now you're paying someone for it, but they're not going to be as effective as you. So if something takes you, it's like, yeah, I can manage, 5 projects while I run my business and do everything else. And it takes you maybe 4 hours per day. It's probably going to take someone new or another project manager like 8 hours, right? It could take them twice as long as it takes you to manage a project effectively, especially when they're starting out. As they get more experience, they get, brought up in your company. Maybe they get quicker, they get better, and so on and so forth. But this is a quick way to shoot yourself in the foot if you are not pricing your jobs properly. So my suggestion is, if you aren't doing this already, start tracking your hours. How much time am I spending on project A, project B, project C, how many projects you have going on? Use a time tracking app, start tracking that amount of time so you get some feedback of how long it takes to do a project. And don't just put it in markup or margin. If you're hiring a project manager, you need to have a specific amount of hours on every job that is estimated for project management. Having a margin or a markup does not work because it's too loose and there's nothing to compare against later when your project manager starts tracking their hours and you're paying them whatever it is, 40 hours a week. And then you go back and it's like, okay, this project took 100 hours. I budgeted 80. Shit, we're out like, $5,000 or whatever on this project. I need to adjust that, or I need to help my project manager be more effective. All right, making sense? That's the starting point. Gotta get the finances right. Number 2, before you hire your project manager, you're gonna need a delegatable system. That involves, typically, the first thing is in a standard operating procedure. I know, boo, nobody likes those, but they are super effective. I like them because I know that the benefits that they will give you. At the end of this video, I will go through a project management SOP to give you an example of how we've set ours up and some of the things that you can expect to have in that standard operating procedure. This isn't like everything under the sun, how to run a project management. This is something specific for your company of the process that you want to see your project management go. There is kind of standards, things that is going to happen on any project of any size that are going to need to be in there. And then you're going to flesh it out and start to customize it based off of the type of projects that you do and how you operate. That SOP is paramount though. That SOP is going to have things like checklists. It's going to have how to do scheduling. Having the right software is the next piece of the puzzle. Is you have the operating procedure. Now you need software to be able to manage your projects. Because if you're just hiring a project manager and like they've got experience, so here you go manage these projects, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to be pissed off. It's not going to go well. You need something that they can go do your system the way you want to handle it, and you need the right software and systems in place to be able to track, are they being effective? And if they're not, why? And how can we change it, or how can we improve it? So those are the big ones: communication with clients, communication with subs, the scheduling, the quality control checklists. Those are huge. And then just being organized on the estimating and the selections and the materials and that kind of stuff. Super, super important. And then finally, with this project management system is financial tracking. And this is a big hurdle. This is a stumbling block for a lot of contractors because you probably haven't set this up yet where you can see project by project what are we profitable? What's the expenses? How much we getting paid? What's the difference? And then at a level where it's like line item by line item. Do we go over or under on project management? Do we go under or over on framing materials? Do we go over or under on concrete? Being able to see all of that is super important. I would suggest you get that in place before you hire a project manager so that, again, you can see how effective they are at managing a project and they can see if we're going over budget on something because you are no longer going to be on site as much. You're not going to be watching the projects. You're going to be removed, right? That's the whole point of hiring someone to do project management is you can now concentrate on higher level activities of your business. But that also means you're not going to be in the minutia of like, did we buy the $100 per square foot countertops or the $200 per square foot countertops, right? Or did we get this type of frame package or that type of frame package? And that financial management is super important for your project management to be like, I don't know what happened here, but we're like already used our budget for framing and I've still got the trust package to order, which is going to be another 3 grand. Like we've got to figure this out right now. Instead of getting to the end of the project and realizing why are we out 40 grand on this project? What happened here, right? So that is the reason to have a good financial tracking in place before you hire your first project manager. All right. Now you got that set up. Now we're golden almost. Number 3 here. Wait, 3 competent training. So now we got to train them, right? We hired someone. Yeah, it'd be nice to get, the best project manager, bring them in. They know everything, bada bing, bada boom. But that's not the case. With any employee, especially project management, there is a wide variety of knowledge. There's a wide variety of construction types of projects. So them fitting perfectly into how you do things is highly unlikely. Having a good onboarding process is key. So getting them spun up with everything they need to know, the SOP, the employee handbook, how to communicate, with clients, how to operate the software, which kind of quality checklist, how often they need to take pictures of the site, where do they upload those, how do they track the financial management. So all of this stuff has to, they need to learn this in the onboarding within a short period of time, like 1 to 2 months. And then it'll probably take anywhere from 4 to 6 months, 7 months before they're actually like kind of in the groove and you can kind of like leave them alone, not have to worry about them too much. And then probably about a full year before they're like, yeah, this guy's solid. I can just like kind of pass stuff off. They handle it. Odd time something comes up or we've got a weird client or something, I need to step in. But that's typically timeframes for training someone. Other things to keep a track of is just like the ramp up of a new project manager. You can expect to kind of hold their hand a little bit. And I'm going to be getting into how you can even delegate this to somebody else and what that looks like a little bit later on. But that's essentially the training is the onboarding super important. And then just realizing it's probably going to take 6 months to a year before you can actually not have to manage the project anymore. So this whole time, you're going to be the mentor, you're going to be the coach, you're going to be helping them, guiding them to learning all this stuff. Number 4, how many we got here? I don't know how many fingers I have anymore. We got 4 here. So number 4 is your knowledge base. This is something not a lot of companies have, and it's super helpful. Have like a spreadsheet or a Google Drive folder, Google Doc, whatever it may be. Call it a knowledge base, and this is like a depository um, for any kind of information to do with that part of your business. So in this case, you'd have a project management knowledge base, and you'd have links to videos. So if you saw some really good videos online, YouTube, wherever, of like how to manage projects, how to do scheduling, how to talk with clients, you would just put those videos in there. Same with like if there's blog articles, maybe you took some sort of online course somewhere, you want to plug that in there. And this is just a knowledge base of things to do with project management so that your project, you're going to have your specific training that you're going to do. Like I mentioned in the previous step, of like, this is how we do it. This is what you need to do. These are specific to do items. But then you're going to have this knowledge base. And this is the missing piece for a lot of companies because you don't know all the experience coming into it of like what your project manager knows. Plus, every new project manager that comes in is probably going to be looking online for how to do certain stuff, or maybe they've moved from a different area, so they're not familiar with certain building terminology or techniques and things like that. So they're going to go Google that online. They're going to go watch some videos and kind of like educate themselves. You tell them, if you're educating yourself on something or there's something about the job that you're not sure of and you've found some resource online, put it in our knowledge base And that way you can organize it a bit. Any new manager coming in can then like go kind of on their own time or whatever. And it's like, here's a good video for this. And this is like, it just gives them more education, trains them better. There's that saying of, why should we train someone? Spend all this time training them if they're just going to move on to another company or something's going to happen to them in the future. They're going to go start their own business. And then the reply is, well, imagine a company full of people that haven't been trained, right? You're much better off spending time, energy, and effort training good people, because good people that are trained will be a lot more efficient. Plus, when you're investing in people and you're investing in their education, they will reciprocate with wanting to do a better job, and they're more likely to stick around because they see that this company's not just here to kind of squeeze me for all I'm worth to get production and make money, but they're actually interested in making sure that I'm competent, that I know what I'm doing, and improving my education and giving me a path to bigger and better things. Making sense? All right. So number 5, leads leaders. What I mean by this is you are now a leader of leaders. Before, you were leading a crew, maybe you had a foreman or superintendent or something like that. When you get your first project manager, you are now a leader of leaders. So there's all the project management training of how to manage a project, but there's also leadership training of how should they be as a leader. How are they going to lead your people, your subs, your clients, whatever it may be. And this is another missing piece where a lot of people kind of go off track or go off the rails, or they have a couple project managers and they're wondering why everyone's all on different pages and things are starting to fall apart. So you want to develop leadership and be very intentional and very straightforward with them that you are now a leader. You lead by example. Share with them some of your things that you've learned as a leader. Once these people have been a project manager for 1 year or 2 years in your company, you can now kind of promote them to a senior project manager and have them train the new guys that come in. And this is where you are totally removed, right? You've created this system, you've created this training, you've created this knowledge base, you've built up these leaders. Now they are actually able to take what you've built, pass it on to the next person and train the next person, and the next person starts. If you've got a project management issue, or you need some help, call the senior project manager. They will help you. They've got the experience. They probably know this better than you by now because they've been in it the last 2 years and you have not. And they're going to better know because they had to start in your company. You never really had to start in your company. Yes, you've learned this from scratch as far as like in your company. I'm sure you learned project management in doing something else beforehand, most likely, but they're going to know as an employee coming up in your company. And this is the reason why you could pass it off. And now you're almost completely removed. Yeah, you'll still be there. You probably have management meetings. You'll step in, you'll give advice, and you'll still be the head leader of your company. But training leadership is where you can build companies and what will actually allow you to go on vacation, be profitable without being on site, and be able to sell your business one day if you want to, because you are no longer that roadblock or that bottleneck in the entire company. Making sense? All right. So we are going to go through this SOP that I have for project management. This is one of them. We customize them based off of the company that we're working with, as well as the software, because different softwares are going to function differently. But generally speaking, this is going to be a big outline of a project management SOP that you can use as an example to set up your own, or reach out to us, and that's what we help our clients with. So I always like to start off with a description, just like what this is, requirements and resources, reoccurring tasks. So there's going to be certain things that are reoccurring. So every week, your project manager is going to be checking the financials, number of things, calling clients, maybe providing client updates. They're going to be doing site visits, what to do on a site visit. You want to be specific, but not overloaded here. And getting started, you want to just be having the kind of like start with the basics, big steps, big parts, and then you can always build more detail and refine it over time. So like site visits, scheduling trades, weekly updates. I put like the actual email that they can send to clients. So if you've got any sort of templated emails to send to clients for different stages or weekly updates or different things like that, put it in here so that they, make it easy. Make it as easy as possible so everything's consistent and standard. With the project, it starts a pre-construction, right? So things like, estimating, that's going to be an estimating SOP, but you can have links to your other documents from one SOP to the other. You can put in your like flow charts, all that kind of stuff. So let's walk through the pre-construction and just telling them all the pertinent notes and things that a project manager should know. I always like to run chronological, so start to finish. Project start, what do we need to know about? What's important? During the building, you've got your different phases: demo, foundation, framing, finish trades. When should they be contacting subs? How should they be scheduling subs? How should they be putting a schedule together? All this kind of stuff. What happens when issues come up? How do we do a punch list closeout? All this stuff. As you can see, it's not overloaded with information. It's giving enough information that's useful and digestible. This isn't like a how-to guide, a project management. They should have some experience and kind of know what to do. You're outlining the process and really important key information that you want to make sure that. And after you've gone through like the SOP for the whole project, I have all my checklists in my SOP document as well. So we've got pre-con, project start, quality control checks for, framing checklists, like foundation, pre-board, finish, exterior, all these, different checklists for different parts of the project, your closeout, your review checklist, so reviewing a project after the fact of like, how is our performance? How is the budget? How is the schedule? How is the client experience? What can we start doing? What can we stop doing? What went well, what didn't go well? So having that kind of feedback as well during a project is super helpful. So this should get you started. Creating SOP like this, it brings consistency, it brings profitability, it brings efficiency, it gives you a standard base to work off. So every new project manager comes into the business, sees that you're professional, sees that there's a system, sees that there's a certain way of doing things. I hope it's been helpful for you. Drop a comment. Let me know if you would like me to show you more of these types of documents.